Have you ever told yourself you're going to do, or more specifically, not do something for a very short period of time for life circumstantial reasons, and then immediately turned around and done the thing you said you wouldn't do, but you didn't just do it. You went hard in doing the thing you said you weren't gonna do. Fun fact, in the very middle process of moving, like we are days away from a truck being loaded moving, and about a month ago I refrained from buying books because I was like, I still have books, why should I buy more just to travel with them? And then about a week later I bought books. I will be honest, that was a few weeks ago now, and I read some of them, which was the goal. The goal mentally was like read as many as possible. They were all in thrifted, secondhand, kind of just like found items. Let's get into it. And in no particular order, I'm just gonna start at the top. First one is A Witch City Mystery, Late Checkout by Carol J. Perry. I have never heard of this series. Clearly it is a mystery series all based around Salem, Massachusetts, which I love. And this is, again, I say this sometimes, but like this is a series that if I would have known existed in high school, I would have owned the whole series. It's clearly geared towards like a preteen, teenage audience. The cover is cute as heck. It's in like a bookstore. Look at that big orange kitty. And I had to give it a shot. So, field reporter Lee Barrett is not happy that her hours are being cut back at Which TV, the local TV station. Although it is nice to spend more time volunteering with Aunt Ibby, a research librarian at Salem's main branch, Lee's least favorite task is going up to the stacks, a spooky, seldom frequented upper section of the library. But on this day, she has a good reason to be afraid. She finds a dead man surrounded by hundreds of scattered books and torn out pages. This book, You're an Animal, Viscovitz, by Alessandro Boffa, translated by John Casey. I do believe the original book was written in Russian. The author is from Moscow. But they say he divides his time between Italy and Thailand. So I don't know what the book was originally in, but translated to English. I'm gonna be honest, I'm about halfway through this book. I had no concept of what this book was gonna be, and it is confusing me and making me a little angry. From Italy, a wildly modern riff on Ovid's Metamorphoses, which I haven't read, so maybe that is confusing me further. A whirlwind of ironic fables in which the central hero, Viscovitz, is continually changing identities in pursuit of his one true love. Just a little short, quick further thing. A snail with two sexes, a parrot who speaks of love, a dormouse who has erotic dreams, a police dog who's a Buddhist, a microbe with an inferiority complex, a lion in love with a gazelle, a chameleon hoping to find himself, an intestinal worm, a dung beetle, etc., etc. Next one was Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Maud Montgomery. I have heard like actually incredible things about this. I know it's a classic, I'm aware, but like so many people are like, if you love fantasy, anything like that, coming of age, etc., like you'll love this book. And I've never read it. I honestly hadn't even heard of it until pretty recently in life. Just really quick, in case you don't know the synopsis of Anne of Green Gables, when Marilla and Matthew Kubert decide to adopt a boy from an orphanage, they are not sure what to expect. They are in for a surprise when an adventurous, imaginative, red-haired little girl arrives at Green Gables instead. And I believe I've heard it like carries throughout Anne's life. Again, very magical, cozy, country, cute. So I'm excited. The next book is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I got 2 Celeste Ng books. This is this one and Little Fires Everywhere. Both, okay. Celeste Ng knows how to write about family trauma, very emotionally struggling people who are just trying to like understand and get through life. And my heart is shattered by both of these books, but I did really enjoy them. I'll say that much. Lydia's dead, but they don't know this yet. So begins this exquisite novel about a Chinese-American family living in the 1970s small town Ohio. Lydia is the favorite child of Marilyn and James Lee, and her parents are determined that she will fulfill the dreams they were unable to pursue. But when Lydia's body is found in the local lake, the delicate balancing act that had been keeping the Lee family together is destroyed. It's very much human connection, especially amidst grief, and yeah. Good. It's good if you're ready to be emotionally distraught for 300 pages. And then little fires everywhere. Everything is planned, from the layout of the winding roads to the colors of the houses to the successful lives its residents will go on to lead. And no one embodies the spirit more than Eleanor Richardson, whose guiding principle is playing by the rules. Enter Mia Warren, an enigmatic artist and single mother who arrives in this idyllic bubble with her teenage daughter Pearl, and a disregard for the status quo that threatens to upend their carefully ordered community. Yeah, explores the weight of secrets, the nature of art and identity, the ferocious pull of motherhood, and the danger of believing that following the rules can avert disaster. Also really enjoyed this book. We'll break it down more, but I will just say I liked both of them. Next book was The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. Basically, Gretchen Rubin goes on, this is a memoir / self-help, but this is how I wish all self-help books were written. I swear I could rant about this book for a million years. Gretchen Rubin had an epiphany one rainy afternoon in the unlikeliest of places, a city bus. These days are long, but the years are short, she realized. Time is passing, and I'm not focusing enough on the things that really matter. In that moment, she decided to dedicate a year to her happiness project. In this lively and compelling account, Rubin chronicles her adventures during the 12 months she spent test driving the wisdom of the ages, current scientific research, and lessons from popular culture about how to be happier. Almost like journal entry style that was then gone back and revised to make sense to people. Like, you know, because journal entries are like kind of chaotic, can be, but it was very like, I took notes on everything I tried, every experiment I did, and here's the culminating synopsis of how it went. And I really enjoyed this. I wish more self-help books were written from this perspective, from the perspective that it's not a one-size-fits-all. It's a let's test drive and adjust. So I did enjoy this. But next is Kate DiCamillo, The Magician's Elephant, which it says on the inside she's the author of the Tales of Despero. She's cute. When a fortune teller's tent appears in the market square of the city of Baltese, orphan Peter Augustus Duchamp knows the question that he needs to ask. Does his sister still live? And if so, how can he find her? The fortune teller's mysterious answer, an elephant. An elephant will lead him there, sets off a chain of events so remarkable, so impossible, that Peter can hardly dare to believe it. Very cute. I would absolutely read this to a child. The Gunkle by Stephen Rowley. Oh. I bought this at the I know for sure I bought this at the Brattle bookstore. Literally, I mean, it's a bookstore, but you know what I mean? It's just something so fun about going through all the little racks outside and like hoping it's not gonna rain because it's gray every day here, but I love it. So Patrick, or Gay Uncle Patrick, Gup for short, has always loved his niece Maisie and nephew Grant. That is, he loves spending time with them when they come out to Palm Spring for week-long visits, or when he heads home to Connecticut for the holidays. But in terms of caretaking and relating to the two children, no matter how adorable, Patrick is honestly overwhelmed. So when tragedy strikes and Maisie and Grant lose their mother, and Patrick's brother has a health crisis of his own, Patrick finds himself suddenly taking on the role of primary guardian. Despite having a set of Gunkle rules ready to go, Patrick has no idea what to expect, having spent years barely holding on after the loss of his great love. That sums it up really well. That was a good book. Ugh, I'm having a hard time not like talking about the books I've already read. Next book was The Benefits of Being an Octopus, which if you want another just heart-wrenching novel, this one is it, let me tell you. I genuinely can't fathom reading this as a mother. That's not to say you can't, but it's written from the perspective of a middle schooler going through things that just like a middle schooler shouldn't have to go through. And I like was hurting just imagining a middle schooler going through it. And I like can't even fathom from a parental lens of being like, that could be my kid couldn't do it. Benefits of Being an Octopus by Anne Braden, which again, I love this cover. Some people can do their homework. Some people get to have crushes on boys. Some people have other things they've got to do. 7th grader Zoe has her hands full as she takes care of her much younger siblings after school every day while her mom works her shift at the pizza parlor. Zoe thinks how much easier everything would be if she were an octopus. 8 arms to do 8 things at once. Incredible camouflage ability and steady unblinking vision. Powerful protective defenses. And there's more, but I got this. Apparently this is a major motion picture. Wow. 1939 was the original publishing of this book. And I read books solely from like 2010 to the 2020s, like solely, quite frankly, which I'm not mad about. But when I saw this, I was like, all right, let's give it a shot. You know, as I already said, I just bought Anne of Green Gables too, but regardless. Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe by Fanny Flagg. I mean, it's going to be very different than from things that I read. Flagg's new novel is The Lake Wobegon of the South. It is folksy and fresh, endearing and affecting, filled with humor and drama, and has an ending that would fill with smiling tears. The Whistle Stop Lake, if only they had a lake. It's first the story of 2 women in the 1980s, a gray-headed Mrs. Threadgood telling her life story to Evelyn, who is in the sad slump of middle age. The tale she tells, I can't wait to hear what middle age is. The tale she tells is also of 2 women, of the irrepressibly daredevilish tomboy Iggy and her friend Ruth, who is back in the 30s, ran a little place in Whistle Stop, Alabama, a southern cafe, Wobegon? Offering good barbecue and good coffee and all kinds of love and laughter, even an occasional murder. Oh my god. I just get overwhelmed when things look old, like reading wise. Any other instance in life, I'm here for vintage. Literature stresses me out a little bit. Next book is Markswoman by Rati Mehrotra. Sorry, I swear I tried looking it up. This just looks sick, must say. It looks amazing. Kyra is the youngest markswoman in the Order of Kali, one of a handful of sisterhoods of highly trained elite warriors armed with blades whose metal is imbued with magic and guided by a strict code of conduct. The orders are sworn to keep the peace and protect the people of Asiana. I'm not good at pronouncing, I'm so sorry. Kyra has pledged to do so, yet she secretly harbors a fierce desire to avenge her murdered family. But to be a markswoman means disconnecting from one's past completely. I know this is gonna be good. Next is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, which I've heard various things about this. I'll be honest, I have never read a fictional retelling of like a classic story or anything like that. And I do know that these are like retellings in a dystopian world of like fairy tales, like Cinder. Humans and androids crowd the streets of New Beijing. A deadly plague ravages the population. From space, a ruthless lunar people watch, waiting to make their move. No one knows that the Earth's fate hinges on one girl. Yeah, literally a cyborg becomes entwined. She has an evil stepmother. She loves a prince. But there's gonna be an intergalactic struggle. Is this the telling I've always needed of Cinderella? This one by Jasper Ford is The Great Troll War, which this is gonna be a little silly. Also another fantastic cover. Clearly I'm here for highly illustrated fantasy comic-y covers. This is the 3rd or 4th in the Last Dragon Slayer series, which I have never read, but this enticed me so much and I felt like it would be such a magical adventure that I will seek out the other books just so I can read this. The only serious book I bought in everything is Why We're Polarized by Ezra Klein. I'm trying to see. Ezra Klein is the editor-at-large and co-founder of Vox. And he also writes for the Washington Post and is a policy analyst for MSNBC and a contributor to Bloomberg. This is basically about why there's so much political polarization in the United States, but I do want to read it. Like, it is something I do find very important. It's just like a stressful thing for me to have to start thinking about, but I do want to read it. Next book, also from the Brattle bookstore, was Philip Roth, I Married a Communist, which this looks insane. That's it. That's it. That's insane. That's insane. Radio actor Iron Rinn, born Ira Ringgold, is a big Newark roughneck blighted by a brutal personal secret from which he is perpetually in flight. On his way to political catastrophe, he marries the nation's reigning radio actress and beloved silent film star, the exquisite Eve Frame, born Shava Fromkin. Their marriage evolves from a glamorous romantic ideal into a tasteful Manhattan townhouse to a dispiriting soap opera of tears and treachery. Bride and Grant of her husband's okay, it's getting a lot, but it sounds kind of interesting. I hope it's funny. The next one is Japanese Inn by Oliver Statler. I also feel like I've never seen such a color like this. That is such a distinct color of like muted salmon. Sorry, you can see on the back better. I feel like it's not even coming up right on camera. It's such an interesting color. But the Japanese Inn, the beguiling story of the Minaguchi-ya, an ancient inn on the Tokaido Road, founded on the eve of the establishment of the Tokugawa shogunate. Travelers and guests flow into and past the inn. Warriors on the march, lovers fleeing to a new life, pilgrims on their merry expeditions, great men going to and from the capital. The story of the Minaguchi-ya is the social history of Japan through 400 years, a ringside seat to some of the most stirring events of a stirring period. This sounded so interesting. There's some images in here. All right, and then lastly, book I'm currently reading, which I already think I'm gonna love so much, is The Love and Lies of Roxanna Ali. Wow. It's by Sabina Khan. This is, oh yeah, so I thrifted this, and it was an uncorrected proof, like sent out for like promo or things of that, like for people to read it and review it previous to it being released. So I don't know if this is still like the whole cover looks like. I don't know what's different and not different about it. Digging the first like 40 pages I'm into it in, literally 40 on the dot, I think I'm gonna love this so deeply. 17-year-old Roxanna Ali tries her hardest to live up to her conservative Muslim parents' expectations, but lately she's finding that impossible to do. She rolls her eyes when they blatantly favor her brother and saves her crop tops and makeup for parties her parents don't know about. Luckily, only a few more months stand between her carefully monitored life in Seattle and her new life at Caltech, but when her parents catch her kissing her girlfriend Ariana, all of Roxanna's plans fall apart. Her parents are devastated and decide to whisk Roxanna off to Bangladesh, where she is thrown headfirst into a world of arranged marriages and tradition. Through reading her grandmother's old diary, Roxanna gains much-needed perspective and realizes she must find the courage to fight for her love without losing the connection to her family as a consequence. Surprise, surprise, that went so much longer than I intended it to, but I'm really excited. Okay, so I have 6 that I finished that I will be reviewing, probably literally recording a video of that right after this. I'm working on 2 at the same time, and then I have 9. 9 that I still have to read that are gonna go in a box right after this video. So I'm doing fine. Everything's fine. So that was really long, but I love thrifting for books, and talking about books, and I'm excited to read all of these. So if you've read any of these, let me know. If you're interested about any of them, let me know. I'm excited to talk about them. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I'm just in a book mood at the moment, so thank you for your time, and I will see y'all in the next one, which should be reviews of these 6 books. Can I get that done? We'll see.